Absolutely. No problem. Hello, everybody. It's great to see you here today. My name is Professor Jennifer Harder. I am a faculty member at McGeorge School of Law, where I teach in the JD program. I am also the faculty director for our Master of Science in Law program, and with a significant focus on our online component, which you will be hearing about today. My area of focus is water and environmental law, and also a strong emphasis in government law and policy, but I will be talking about all of our concentrations today. In just a moment, we will be joined by our Assistant Dean for the Graduate and Online Programs, Dean Clémence Kucera, and by my colleague, Marcie Paolinelli, who is the Director for our Public Policy Programs. And we will be talking about the public policy programs, the Master of Science in Law, or MSL program, and talking a little bit about the differences between the programs. Um, so, and here comes Dean Kucera now.
Yes, thank you so much for taking this over. My apologies, everyone. Our other guest speaker is having difficulties logging on Zoom right now, so hopefully she will be able to join us. So, welcome. I'm Clémence Kucera. I'm the Assistant Dean for the Graduate Law Programs here at McGeorge, and today we have two guest speakers. Professor Jennifer Harder, who is our faculty director for the MSL program, and then Dr. Marcie Paolinelli, who will be joining us soon, who is the faculty director for the MPP and MPA program. So thank you very much, Professor Harder, for being here today. We are going to talk about the differences between our MSL, MPP, and MPA. We get a lot of those questions, so we will discuss this today. I am going to go ahead and share my presentation. And so give me a minute. So here we go. Hopefully you can all see that. So law, policy, and administration, decoding the MSL, MPP, and MPA program. So I'll have a conversation today with our guest speakers, Dr. Paolinelli and Professor Harder. Then I'll talk a little bit about what makes McGeorge is. I mentioned online, but you will hear that some of our programs are more hybrid than they're not 100% online. What makes our programs distinctive? We'll talk about next steps, and then we'll have plenty of time for Q&A. So I see that Dr. Paolinelli is still not connected. So I am gonna. Sorry, I'm going to try to. My apologies. Professor Harder, as I am calling back Dr. Paolinelli, would you mind introducing yourself?
I can start talking about the MSL program,
Perfect.
if that's okay. Wonderful.
Yeah. I'm going to put that slide up. So.
Thank you. Okay, so we'll start with the MSL program, and then you can hear about the public policy programs after. So to provide an overview of the Master of Science in Law, or MSL program. So what is this degree? It's actually a degree that is increasingly well known, accepted, and sought after by professionals and employers across the country. A Master of Science in Law is a master's degree that provides advanced legal training for professionals who want to enhance their careers or enter into a new career with legal expertise without becoming lawyers. So you take these courses within a law school. You can develop expertise in legal principles and legal processes, take a deep dive into the law, and learn knowledge and skills similar to those taught in a JD program, but tailored to the non-lawyer professional. So our MSL program at McGeorge offers several tracks. We have several concentrations. One is the area in which I specialize, water and environmental law. We have a concentration in government law and policy and a concentration in business law, and those are all fully online. We also have a number of ways in which you can do hybrid concentrations, in which you can take classes partly online and partly in person. And then we actually have a strong ability to customize your program. Some of those hybrid concentrations can be human resources focus, a health law focus, or you don't have to declare a concentration and you can learn general legal skills without necessarily declaring a specialty up front. So our program is a part-time program. If you take the fully online track, then you would take 6 credits per semester. So it would take you 2 years to finish the program on that schedule with a couple of 1-unit summer courses in one summer or split it up. We have a significant ability to customize how you proceed through the program. Half of those courses are required courses and half are electives. So I think I'll pause there and I can say more about the skills you would develop and the learning outcomes in our program. But first, I'll turn it back to Dean Kucera.
Thank you very much, Professor Harder. And Dr. Paolinelli is now here with us. So Dr. Paolinelli, thank you so much for being here with us today. You are the faculty director of the MPP and MPA program. You've been teaching at McGeorge for roughly 10 years now, and you were one of the faculty who founded the MPP and MPA program. Can I please ask you to give an overview of your programs? I created a couple slides like to help you.
Sure, thank you. So under the public policy programs, we have 2 degrees. One is the MPP, the Master of Public Policy, and the other is the Master of Public Administration, the MPA. And we often get asked, what's the difference between the 2 degrees? Because there is some overlap in the classes that you would be taking under one program versus the other, but there is a difference. So if you think about solving problems that require public action, think about the spectrum of things that you have to do. You first have to identify the problem and quantify the impact that that problem is having. Then you have to develop some alternative solutions, and that requires some analysis of the impacts of those solutions, cost-benefit analysis, and a risk assessment. And based on that analysis, you come up with a recommendation. And the recommendation might be something like a change to the law. It might be change in regulation, something to do with program operations, new service delivery. There could be a whole host of changes that would be required to take public action. And then somebody has to implement and manage those changes to see them through. So think of that spectrum from problem identification through implementation. So the Master of Public Policy, the one we're going to talk about first, focuses on the front end of the spectrum, in that we're giving you the tools and experience and competencies to do that heavy-duty analysis of a problem identification, analysis of solutions, and making and developing recommendations. You get exposure to the management and implementation, but more of the emphasis on the front end of it. Maybe I could just go to the next slide real quick so I could talk about the MPA, the difference. Thinking about that spectrum now from problem identification all the way through implementation, the MPA focuses on the management and implementation of solutions. You get exposure to the front end of all that problem and analytical stuff, but then you're getting a lot of management oriented classes as you go along. So there's some overlap in the classes that you would be taking, but one significant overlap in both degrees is a foundation of the law. And we have you take 2 classes. One's Introduction to Legal Analysis. The other one is Statutes and Regulations. And you won't find that in any other MPP or MPA program that you're exploring. This is unique to McGeorge, our School of Law, that we have you do these law classes. And the reason why is law is the foundation for everything we do in public service. When you're managing a program, you have statutory authority to manage that program. So you have to know what the law says and how to interpret it appropriately. So you'll be taking those 2 law classes. And let's start over then with the MPP. Let me go into that a little bit more in depth. So for the MPP, it's 39 units, and there's a core curriculum of 33 credits, and you will be selecting a concentration, which adds another 6 units to get you to the overall 39 credits. We offer our classes in 3 delivery modes. Some are entirely online, synchronous. Some are hybrid, which are part online and in person. And then some are totally in person on Saturdays. So overall, in the whole program of the 39 units, you would overall be attending class 50% online, synchronous, like how we're doing right now, having that interaction with the professor, and 50% on 6 Saturdays a semester. And we've structured the class schedule so that all of our MPP and MPA students are on campus on the same 6 Saturdays a semester. And while you'll be attending different classes, you will all share a common lunchtime, and we'll have guest speakers so that you have that sense of community with our public policy programs. For the public policy degree, we do offer 3 concentrations. Maybe back to last slide. Okay, yes. The 3 concentrations, one is environmental and water policy. We have a few experts on our law faculty. Professor Harder is one of them. So if you take this concentration, you'll get the privilege of studying with her. We also have one called public policy advocacy. And this is for someone that wants to be a lobbyist one day or work at the Capitol for a committee. You'll get the experience of understanding how a bill becomes law in practice. You'll take ideas and develop them into statutory solutions and find out how you engage with stakeholders to actually get something from idea into actual signed law. And the last one is called nonprofit and social capacity management. Our degrees are really good foundation if you want to go manage a nonprofit organization one day, or you want to be an advocate for social justice issues as well. So those are the 3 concentrations that you would have to select from if you're taking the MPP. Now for the MPA, it's a little different. It's 30 units, core curriculum. Those same 2 law classes I was telling you about it's 10 classes altogether that you can either do 2 years as part-time. And we talk about part-time as about 2 classes a semester. Or if you plow through and take on more, you can actually finish the degree in about a year and a half. Same thing, it's 50% online and 50% in person. And you get the same 3 concentrations that I was talking about. That would be optional, and that would put 6 more units onto your degree. So if you decided to pursue this and get the concentration, you'd be doing 36 units. There's one additional concentration. It's called policy analysis. And we found that some of our MPA students really get into that front end of the spectrum I was telling you about, the quantitative analysis, the advanced policy analysis. So we developed a concentration specific to the MPAs that want to do a deep dive more into that critical thinking and critical analysis. So that's a brief overview of our 2 degrees. Did I answer all the questions, Dean Kucera?
Yes, yes, thank you very much.
Okay.
I think my next question for you is going to be still very much on the program, but more on the learning outcome perspective. What are the main learning outcomes for each of your program? And perhaps let's start with Professor Harder. So Dr. Paolinelli, you have a minute to recuperate.
I want to circle back a little bit to talk about the nature of the program with that wonderful foundation that Dr. Paolinelli just provided. We have some similarities between the programs in terms of your career goals and career outcomes. So in the MSL program, you're also going to be learning to identify challenges and opportunities in law, regulation, and policy, and to identify solutions. Where we focus a little differently is that you focus on how the law interfaces with those policies and how to make change in a much bigger way. So you have the two law classes in the MPA and the MPP programs. In our program, they are primarily law classes with a few practical skills classes. Our classes are primarily taught by attorneys. You take the same class in Introduction to Legal Analysis. It's a different class, but same types of skills, learning basic concepts about legal terminology and legal reasoning, and legal research skills. But in the MSL program, you take a second class focused on contract law, for example, learning analytical skills. And then we break it down into two different classes, one which focuses on legislatures, statutes, and how courts will consider how a statute should be interpreted, how lawyers think about that sort of thing, as well as a second class on the regulatory agencies and the agencies that issue rules and make policies. And you learn practical skills for how to interface with them. For example, you learn to write comments on regulations, or if you also learn how to respond to those comments if you're working for an agency. So we have these different areas of focus. One of the other areas I think we want to distinguish is Dr. Paolinelli talked about the MPP and MPA hybrid framework. I mentioned at the outset that our framework was asynchronous. So what does that mean? It means that all of our programs are taken online, but you never have to be in the same place at the same time. The way that we structure our program is that we have weekly lesson plans, and the weekly lesson plans are released at the beginning of the week. There are recorded lectures or podcasts or any number of modalities from our wonderful attorney professors. And then you have opportunities to engage in asynchronous discussion with your classmates over the course of that week, where you have opportunities to post and respond to classmates. You do assignments and projects. And it's all done on a weekly basis over the same schedule as the law school. And sometimes you have the opportunity to interface with JD students and other kinds of students in those classrooms. Our asynchronous courses are designed in order to foster substantial interaction between faculty and students on a regular basis. There's opportunities in the program to engage with faculty in focused research or policy or practical projects, or to publish a thesis under the supervision of a faculty member, and even to engage in externships. So we have a lot of opportunities, even though we're in asynchronous format. I will tell you that I have been teaching in an asynchronous format for going on almost 2 decades now, and I have relationships with some of my students whom I've never met in person that continue to this day. So it's a really wonderful opportunity to engage. We also focus on leadership skills that you need to guide organizations through complex time as they navigate changes in law and policy, and also to undertake change and advocate for change in those organizations. So I know we'll have the opportunity to talk more about career opportunities that come out of each of these programs. So I will pause on that for now. Dean Kucera, was there something else you wanted me to
That's
address?
perfect. That is
Okay.
perfect. Thank you very much.
All right.
Dr. Paolinelli?
Yes. Okay,
Yes.
I'm going to be talking about learning outcomes for our 2 degrees. And I tend to talk about both degrees together because we do have similar learning outcomes for both of them. But let me just take a minute to explain why half the time you'll be in person with us. It's because we're a practitioner-oriented degrees, in that We don't require a thesis in our program. We have a capstone projects where you're going to be doing real live projects with real live clients. A lot of the stuff we do is hands-on simulations of real world experiences. So we find that that works really well in an in-person format, which is why we have you all together on 6 Saturdays a semester. Part of our learning outcomes is that practical, professional-oriented experience in that you'll be learning how to do the same kinds of work products that you would be doing in the workplace. For example, we teach you how to do a decision memo or a bill analysis or implementation plan for a new piece of legislation. Those kinds of things you'll be learning directly hands-on and getting that experience. So underlying all of that is we have 4 primary learning outcomes. One is law as a foundation for public action. So I already talked about those 2 law classes that you would take for either the MPA or the MPP. The other learning outcome is learning the management and leadership skills that you will need. You know, even if you're someone that never intends to manage people in your whole career, at some point you're gonna. And it's gonna be beneficial for you to learn those skills because even though you don't think so right now, you're early in your career, as you advance up the career ladder, you're gonna get more and more responsibilities and comes with that is the responsibility of managing people. So we weave that as a learning outcome into both of our degrees, those management and leadership competencies. The third competency is making and implementing public policy. So you're going to learn all the tools and concepts and get the hands-on experience on how do you develop and implement public policies. And then the last one is really important in that it's the quantitative analysis. You have to prove to decision makers why your idea is good or why it should be implemented. So comes with that is developing the data analytical skills and visualization skills that are needed to convince decision makers that the appropriate way to go when you're making recommendations. So those are our 4 learning outcomes and applies to both of our MPP and MPA degrees.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Professor Harder, anything else that you want to add on the learning outcomes for the MSL?
Yes, so I would say a couple of clarifications. I think where I see significant difference between the 2 programs is the MSL program does not have the focus on the quantitative, the data, the statistical analysis. Our program is more focused on law. And the second is in the modality, because you have the hybrid, the wonderful in-person opportunities that the public policy program provides, all of our in-person opportunities are optional. There's never any required. We do, for people who are in the area, you have the opportunity to come to campus for events or attend events online, for example, but the asynchronous format gives you maximum flexibility if you need to, if you're continuing to work. You can do work in the early mornings, at lunchtime, in the evenings, or on the weekends, whenever suits your schedule on that weekly basis, and to work around family or other personal commitments. So our program is also a little bit shorter. The MPA is 30 credits, ours is 26. The MPP is significantly more credits than that. You can complete, as I mentioned, the MSL in 2 years part-time with a summer where you have 2 one-unit courses or break those up. You can also vary the program. We have a lot of flexibility to vary that program. When we talk about opportunities, we do have the thesis opportunities are tailored to MSL. So they are optional first. You don't have to do a thesis. You can do a smaller directed research. You can do an externship, or you can just take your classes. We really design the program to each individual student and what they hope to achieve in their professional life. It can be a hands-on project. I'm thinking of one MSL who's working very closely with the lead attorney in an administrative law function at a water agency here in the area in order to develop a program around water and endangered species law. And this person works for a water agency. So we can design these projects to meet any of your professional goals. One of the things that we talk about, since we do have this strong focus on law, is, enabling you to have enough information to understand how developments in the law might affect your employer, might affect a policy arena, to advocate for changes in the law, and also to understand when you need to call in an attorney, right? So that you have that understanding of how attorneys and non-lawyers can partner to collaborate around solving problems or changing the law going forward.
Thank you. So it's a lot of information. Let me ask you a much more direct question. Like, you have someone coming to see you and telling you, I'm interested in working, let's say in water and environmental world, not law. I didn't say it law, but what in the water and environmental world. Which program should I do? And how, I think not too much which program, but how to choose the right program.
Yeah, so I would ask them questions about their schedules and what they can commit to in terms of time. Do they need a lot of flexibility where they need to, where an asynchronous program might be a good fit for them? They need to work early mornings, right? They don't have the flexibility to come to campus 6 Saturdays in a semester. I would ask them questions about program focus. Do you want to really develop that deep legal expertise, or have a couple of classes where you learn a significant amount of law, but just the two classes, and then have that deep dive into policy tools, and particularly that data and statistics piece? Then I would direct them to the public policy programs, right? Do they want to work with the policy professionals as their instructors with some expert attorneys in those couple of classes? Or do you want to work primarily with attorneys as your instructors and really take that deep dive? And in terms of career outcomes, they're tailored from those areas of program focus. I think there are a lot of careers where you could do either program, agency staff, regulatory and policy analysts, consultants, right? There are a lot but I would ask what kind of duties, what kind of things you'd be doing in those positions. If you need to take a look at staff and say, okay, how many staff? I'm managing staff and programs, and I need to know statistics in order to be able to understand what's the optimum number of staff in this program, giving my budget. That's probably an MPA type, I would say, public policy type degree. If you're going to be reviewing legislation on a daily basis, or reviewing comments on documents submitted by stakeholders, I'd say you may want to look more closely at the MSL program and combine all of those things together to come up with the best program for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Harder. Dr. Paolinelli?
Yes, excuse me. Yes, so a lot of the conversations I have with potential applicants is the MPP or the MPA right for me? So if I could go back to where I started with this conversation, I always talk about the spectrum of looking at the problem all the way to implementing it. What are you passionate about? What are you good at? What do you want to further develop in terms of skills? So if you're want to do the deep dive into the analytical aspects and really be involved in making and designing public policies, then maybe the MPP is the better fit for you. But on the other hand, if you want to pick up the recommendation and take it and implement it and manage it all the way to completion and really see success for your efforts, then maybe the MPA is right for you. One thing I didn't say about the MPA, it is really a sought after degree if you're going to be going into nonprofit management. There's not a whole lot of places you can go and get a nonprofit management degree. And so the MPA is really sought after as a cornerstone of that. So I would tell, we have a lot of applicants that are actually in their second career. They've finished their first career and they're coming back and wanting to do something completely different. And it's either to start a nonprofit or to be involved in a nonprofit or some kind of advocacy component. And those kind of folks, I kind of encourage them to look at the MPA, and especially our nonprofit and social capacity management as a degree kind of enhancer for them. So that's the conversations I have. What are you passionate about, and where do you want to take that passion?
I love those conversations, and I would add, with the MSL, we do have, and I know that the public policy does as well, a variety of different types of people coming into the programs. Dr. Paolinelli mentioned the people who are going into a second career. We often have people who are already working, who want to deepen their expertise and advance in their current career. We have people in one career who want to transition to a new career. And we also get new graduates who are looking to build their expertise coming out of undergraduate, for example, and to start developing some knowledge in law or policy to build a career. So I wanted to mention just for a moment some of the areas in which I've seen people go after these degrees. For example, some of the people I run into are people who are interested in work for financial institutions and review loans to see if they want to give a loan to a particular business or to a farm or whoever it happens to be. A property manager for a private business, whether that's a company like Chevron or a company that does conservation finance, for example, is another. You have people who go into businesses that focus on like healthcare, human resources, and intellectual property. I have one alum from my water program who works as a legislative advocate and lobbyist for clients who are tracking water management and water supply issues, and another that works for a company that restores fish and wildlife habitat and offers credits to satisfy environmental impact requirements. And she works with regulatory agencies to obtain permits to do the restoration work. I have others who track legislation or regulatory initiatives for state and local agencies. And some working in California, some working in Colorado, some working in Montana. So we get opportunities all over in this field.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I see a couple questions in the chat, and I think it's appropriate to actually answer them now. I'm also bringing my colleague Blat Chang here as a panelist, if I can be able to do that, because at some point when we have application related questions, she will be able to help us answer them. So first question that we have is, are there any cases in which students pursue both the MSL and MPP? So I think I can answer the question, like just to start. We don't have that. However, we do have often MSL students taking some public policy courses from the MPP and some public policy students taking perhaps some of the MSL courses. So very rarely it happens that one does the MSL and then does the MPP and vice versa, but it's really not, I would not recommend this to someone because it is a lot of time and frankly, it's a large, financial investment. But I think there is a way for our students to be able to craft their curriculum. There is enough room for electives to be able to take some public policy or to take some law courses, depending on which program you're enrolled with. We do, each of our students have an academic advisor. In the MSL program, we have few additional faculty that Professor Harder worked with who are also advising students. We have Professor O'Neill, who's worked with the students who are interested in the government law and policy. We have Professor Jeff Prosky, who works with the business law MSL students. And so our students have one-on-one meeting as needed with the faculty advisors and with us to talk about the course of studies. Similarly, in the MPP and MPA program, we ask the students to meet with Dr. Paolinelli, and at some point there'll be also another faculty that we'll bring in on board to do academic advising also. So you will be able to discuss this with your faculty advisor and to craft a solid course of study that can include both like the public policy or the policy and the legal side. Professor Harder, Dr. Paolinelli, anything else that you would like to add to this question?
Just for the MPP, where I said there was 3 concentrations, you don't necessarily have to pick those 3. We can tailor something for you. If there's a particular aspect of the law classes that really resonate with you, we can create something unique, and you don't have to stick with those 3.
Thank you. That's the next question. I'm sorry, Professor Harder.
No, I was going to underscore the same thing. I'd mentioned we can tailor the MSL to your specific needs in terms of timing. Also, I've had some MSLs who do the hybrid, not the fully online, but the hybrid, come in and take some of my JD classes. So there are a lot of exciting opportunities. As any of these students, whether public policy or MSL students, you are a McGeorge student. You go to McGeorge School of Law and you have the opportunity to engage with McGeorge around all of the intellectual, academic events that we have exploring issues of the day. For example, the recent change in federal administration, lots of opportunities to talk about policy issues, to interface with library staff. You are a full member of our law community at McGeorge.
Thank you. So the next question is, how could we choose the concentrations under the MPP? So you spoke a little bit about this, Dr. Paolinelli, but if you could expand.
Yeah, so even before you finalize your enrollment with us, you'll be meeting with me, and then we can talk about where you want to take your academic career with us. And so there's lots of choices here to make. Is like, do you want to be in the MPP or the MPA program? Do you want to go part-time, full-time? Do you want a concentration or not? And so I meet individually with everybody and then go through in detail what each concentration is about, because we have a menu of approved courses that you can take to fulfill a concentration, and we figure out together what's the best for you. The other thing I wanted to mention is a lot of applicants agonize, which one should I choose? And it's not a fatal decision. We have lots of students that start the program in MPP, for example, and realize, oh, MPA is a better fit for me. So we have that ability to switch you over as your goals and objectives might change as you get more into this subject matter and understand what each curriculum is all about. So there is lots of flexibility. I would say a third of our students who started in one degree ended up graduating with the other one.
Thank you. So the next question is the MPP and MPA cohort style? If so, how many students are there typically per cohort?
No, it's not cohort style. For the very reason is you can be part-time, you can be full-time, you can have concentration or not. And so with that flexibility, you'll be taking classes with almost every other student at one time as you're going through the program. But we don't like admit this set of students and march them through each the different courses. It's really the schedule that you take and the academic plan is really unique to what you want to accomplish, and what your goals are.
Thank you. So how many students per class, though? Perhaps to try to give a little bit more of a number answer to the question. I know in the MSL, the online courses are capped at 20, and the numbers kind of vary. There are some courses actually where it's a little bit more than 20, and other courses where it's roughly 10 to 15, because the professors wants to ensure that there is indeed that weekly feedback and that collegial online environment. We don't recreate what there is in class, but just to create that individual connection. Professor Harder, do you want to comment on that?
No, I was going to say I think it's important to recognize that you do get that weekly interaction and that weekly feedback. The professor's engaging on the discussion board with you, providing feedback on your assignments, available in office hours. Many of our professors have optional drop-in office hours that they call happy hour, and you can come and talk about anything in the program, but that's optional because we want to keep it maximum flexibility for you. But they are deliberately small classes, and you can get in classes where you have 6 other students, or 10 to 15, or up to 20. Yeah.
Thank you. And so in the public policy and public administration classes, Dr. Paolinelli, do you want to share a little bit enrollment?
We try to keep it to around 15 to 20 students per class. Once in a while, if we haven't offered a class just once a semester, you might find yourself in a class of about 25, but we don't go over that. We try to keep it to 20 average.
Okay, thank you very much. So following up on the question regarding how to choose the MPP concentration, a follow-up question is, if we don't choose a concentration, does this imply less units to complete the degree?
Okay, so for the MPP, it is 39 units. And if you don't choose one of those 3 concentrations that I was telling you about, then we would together figure out which additional 6 units from the law classes that you would want to take to apply. So it's 33 core units for the MPP plus 6 units that can either be applied to a concentration or 6 what we call electives. So no, it's 39 for the MPP. Did we lose Clem?
Oh, perhaps we did.
Yeah, we did. She just texted me that her internet froze.
Oh, okay.
Sorry for the
Okay.
technical issues here. Dr. Paolinelli, is there anything else you want to add about the MPP, MPA program?
For the person that just asked that last question, the other option that might be better for you would be to do the MPA. It's 30 units, and there's one elective in there that you could draw from the MPP curriculum as part of that elective. That's why it's so important for you and I to sit down fairly early and figure out what your goals are and how we're going to apply the core curriculum and the electives, and whether or not you're going to do a concentration. So that discussion is very important. Welcome back, Dean.
I'm so sorry. I guess we keep having technical issues today. I'm in my office and suddenly everything went off. So thank you. So I'm assuming you answered the questions.
Yes.
Yes. Any other questions?
Oh, they would like to see the MPP slide one more time.
Yes, absolutely. Let me open this. So we're on the MPA here, but let me go to the MPP. Yes.
And then, this slide probably should have said with 3 concentrations, or another bullet could have been 2 classes as electives in your policy area of choice.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Okay, so another question is, which of the three programs would be best for someone that works with environmental policies like CEQA and NEPA and has to integrate those into developing general plans or public agency policy? So Professor Harder, I'm gonna.
So theoretically, you could do either program, but I will say that in the MSL program, you have a significant opportunity to dig into the National Environmental Policy Act, the California Environmental Quality Act, and to look at how those interface with land use and local government policies. We have an environmental law course that digs into all of those issues, water resources law course that digs into those issues, and a course in water and environmental justice, which also has a significant focus on land use and local government, as well as an advanced course in government law and policy, which looks at some of those issues. And we are developing, I think I can talk about this, Dean Kucera, a course for next year, which will focus on local government and housing law. And so you will have the opportunity to talk about all of those issues in a very focused way. If you are interested in talking more about how the program touches on CEQA, NEPA, and land use, do feel free to reach out to me one-on-one. I'd be happy to set up a Zoom or discuss by email.
Thank you. The next question is, what is the cost of the program? Bala, can I put you on the spot here and ask you to answer the question for the
Yes,
MPP
of
and MPA?
course.
Yeah.
Mhm. So the
By the way,
cost,
before you start, this is my colleague Bala Cheng. She's our coordinator and student and service recruiter here at McGeorge in the graduate and online programs. So she works one-on-one with each of the students or the prospective students who are interested in either of our programs.
yeah, so I will be the point of contact when you have any inquiries about the program or your application process.
Yes. So what is the cost of the MPP and MPA program?
Yeah, so the cost goes per unit, and each unit is $1,500.
Yes. So for the overall cost then for one semester is $18,000 for the Master of Public Policy. I'm looking at the website. Everything is posted on our website. And
That's if you're attending full-time.
it is, yes, if you attend full-time. And so it's 9,000 part-time. And for the MPA, it's actually the same because, again, you don't actually pay a flat fee with us. You pay only for the number of units that you're taking each semester. For the MSL, because it's only 26 units, the tuition, the per unit rate is a little bit more than for the MPP and MPA. It's $1,591. And so roughly your program is $38,000. But you're not going to pay a flat fee. We have students who start with 6 units. Sometimes they go and the following semester, they only need to take one class, so 3 units because of their workload. And it's the same in the MPP and MPA world. So that when we do say that our program is flexible, it's not just in the flexibility of method of teaching and delivery, but it's also we've set it up so that the students is in control of their own pace. If you want to go faster, you can go faster. Slower pace, you can certainly go slower. At the University of the Pacific, you have to complete your master's program within 5 years. So if you needed to go a little slower for several reasons, you certainly can. So I think I answered the 2 additional questions that we have. In your opinions, would the MPP or MPA program be a good general fit for someone who is interested in research and social justice advocacy? Dr. Paolinelli, you're on mute.
So when you were reading that question, I immediately thought of a current student that we have that's in the MPA program. And she works for a very well-known research organization based out of North Carolina. And she does very targeted research on the criminal justice system. And she's getting her MPA directly to, enhance her skills and career opportunities with that research organization. So I just give you that example as yes, absolutely, yes to your question. Either one would be appropriate. It just depends on what skills that you want to enhance and what competencies you want to develop. That would be the question we need to answer when we sit down and talk of whether MPP or MPA is right for you.
Thank you. Are the Saturdays set in stone where attendance is required?
Well, the Saturdays well in advance. And so the 6 Saturdays coming up for the fall and spring semesters of 25-26, is set in stone. Yes, the class schedule has been defined, and we have various classes that will be taught on Saturday schedules. If you're taking a hybrid class, it would be morning or afternoon, depending on the class. But you'd be there for lunch, the shared lunch with our entire community and the guest speakers. And then if you're in the all-day Saturday classes, the 6 Saturdays, yes, are already scheduled and locked in.
Great, thank you very much. I'm not seeing any additional questions, but we still have a little bit more time, but I wanted to take a minute to talk about the next steps. Bla, would you like to go over this slide?
Yeah, of course. So when you start an application, you can actually contact me to let me know that you've attended this webinar, and I can actually give you a discount code to use for the application fee. We do not require any standardized testing for you to apply to the graduate programs here at McGeorge. And then you do need to upload all of your official transcripts from all of the university that you have attended, as well as your resume and a personal statement, and 2 letters of recommendation.
Thank you. We have a priority application deadline of June 1st. We will still accept application up until August 1st. The start of class is August 18th. There will, of course, be orientation for each of those programs a little bit before. And we will certainly share this information as soon as we have that. I just put in the chat Bla's email address.
Yeah.
And okay, is there a requirement to submit a writing sample as well? So for the MSL program, there is a requirement to submit a writing sample. As you can imagine, there is a significant amount of writing in law, but especially in the way we've set up our program. And so we need to, because we are not asking for a GRE or an LSAT score, we want to ensure that all of our students have some solid writing foundation. Professor Harder, do you want to touch a little bit more on this?
Oh, I think that's a good summary. It is important to be able to have a foundation in communication. Of course, one of our learning outcomes in the program is to help hone those communication skills to enable people to communicate clearly and persuasively about law, regulation, and policy. So we will work with you to develop it, but we do want to just have a sense that you have the applicants have the basic competency to engage.
Thank you. I am putting all of our email addresses in the chat. If you want to contact any of us, we're available. Any other questions? So who can we talk to help decide which program we should apply to help us achieve our goals? I would offer for you to schedule a meeting with me so we can start talking a little bit about this. And I very likely will encourage you to meet also with Dr. Paolinelli. And depending on the area of your interest with Professor Harder or with one of our other professors who work also with us in the MSL program to talk a little bit more about your career goals and, and which program would be a better fit. So you can email me at ckucera@pacific.edu, and then I'll send you a link for you to just schedule a meeting. The meetings can be in person or it can be on Zoom. Does accounting and analytics major are a rare major to apply to an MPP?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first part.
If somebody has a major in accounting and analytics, is that uncommon for someone with such undergraduate degree? Is that uncommon for someone like that to apply to the MPP? Or are there any specific majors that you're looking for when admitting, when recruiting for the program?
No, we draw on all kinds of undergraduate majors, and we're looking for primarily your ambition and dedication to public service, because we're going to teach you those skills that you need to enhance your skills and competencies going forward. But I must say, if you're interested in the MPP, your undergrad in accounting and what was the other part of it? Accounting and
Analytics.
analytics, that would be spot on, good for our MPP degree. So I encourage you to apply, because that's a good one to parlay those skills into public service.
Thank you. Any last questions for our panelists? I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. Well, thank you very much to my guest speakers, Professor Harder, Dr. Paolinelli, to my colleague Bilal also for being here. I appreciate your time. I know that this is a question that we often get, MSL, MPP, MPA, which one is right? So thank you to our audience for attending. Please do reach out to us. Bilal and myself, we are here to meet with prospective and applicants. Like this is, we enjoy doing that. So it's never going to be in a position. So please do go ahead and reach out to us to schedule a meeting. I do see that there is another question, a last minute question. So would the MSL or the MPP be a better fit for wanting to pursue water policy consulting and environmental land planning advocacy?
Well, I think that you could probably design a program to meet those goals in either. I can only speak to the MSL, which would have a very strong pathway to that career outcome. So what I would suggest is you may want to talk with me. You can reach me at jharder@pacific.edu. I'd be happy to talk through what you're aiming at, and potentially, if it makes sense, refer you to Dr. Paolinelli for further conversation.
Yeah, I would suggest that, we all meet and look at the core curriculum for both, and then how we build on the concentration in water policy to meet your goals and see which one is a better fit for you.
Yes. And, I do not think that our audience is able to see the chat. I just realized that. So I am gonna, I think, try to type this in the Q&A. Perhaps I'm just gonna choose like just one question that I'm posting right now. All of our email addresses to the first question that we have. Hoping that you guys can see this. If not, graduatelaw@pacific.edu is our generic email address, and then you can send any of your emails there and we will reroute it to the right direction. Thank you very much and have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. And to our audience, we look forward to continuing the conversation with you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.